guarantee. Lives a man with a funnel plan as clever as can be. He ditched his law degree for plugins that go zing. Now WooCommerce dances every time he pulls a string. Hey, evil genius, he's got a plugin.
There's a plugin for that. Hey guys, it's Spence. Welcome back to Office Hours. It is Friday, March 27th. You will notice my crispy golden brown Costco rotisserie chicken glow. That is from spending 4 days down in Florida with my son, my youngest son, for his spring break. Headed down to the Boca and got to enjoy a lot of visits with friends and customers. Got to take John Lawler out to lunch. My son met him. Good morning, Lloyd. How does the mic and everything else sound? Because it sounds like on my end everything's good. I'm very excited today. We are going into what I want to call extreme money making mode. It's a consequence of when you reach a certain saturation point that you realize you've got everything you need to execute. You realize the time has come to kind of shift from building the blocks of the igloo, you know, when you're a kid and making snow forts, into now let's pretend that we're living in the igloo and do stuff with it. And I think that's where we're at right now. Good morning. You're welcome, John. My son got a kick out of seeing you. The thing that we're going to talk about today is that there are several verticals that I think are applicable. There's probably 1,000 more, but real estate, law, medical, coaching, all of which can benefit from the base tools that we've got available. And whether or not these are your industries or they are things that you are an implementer or an agency within, there comes a point at which you don't need to talk about it anymore. We've already got unbelievable value baked in. And so today I want to talk about that. And I also want to show you the actual core tools that we're using to execute, not just with the Minute Launch Stack, but also the desktop agentic tools, and even some of the exciting new frontier models, the agentic frontier models that are open source that are now delivering what the expensive high-end stuff does. I'm even got a bonus wrapped up for today where I've got a marketing simulator. And the whole purpose of today is to demonstrate you're going to see me shifting into executing on this overall business plan. So let me kind of like, before I show the screen again, let me back up the truck and explain where we were, how we got where we're at, and where we're going. The infamous hot tub moment of last summer, July, was where I realized as a person on the cutting edge of WordPress, let's say, that we had reached a tipping point where things were really never going to be the same. There's two forks in that. First of all, and by the way, John and I talked about this extraordinarily in detail. He used his Plaud pin, which, by the way, thank you for sending me the recording of it. John has this little device. I wish I could show you. Like, I don't have one, but it was like, you know, about yay big. It's a little recorder. He just put it on the table and it recorded all of our conversation with my consent. And then it applies analytics to it. And he sent me the transcript. But while we were talking, we talked about two different worlds. And I'm going to start with the WordPress versus the rest of the world so that I can leave it on the table. First of all, my 18 to 19 years prior to last summer in WordPress, from let's say 2006 on, were about how we can make components for WordPress that were in the form of plugins, themes, services specifically about WordPress. But the difficulty of that is that the leadership of WordPress, Matt Mullenweg, in my opinion, and I've publicly stated this, has chosen a path where he has not acted with haste to either streamline the inefficiencies of the WordPress ecosystem, where it's a rando flea market of, oh my God, or to execute on AI. And as a result of that, in Christmas of 2024, when I was on the WP Tonic show, I basically said publicly, I'm going to do something about it for myself and my audience. I have an audience of roughly 4,200 paid customers or existing past customers, and I have probably 45,000 other people I have access to on a list. Maybe many of them are no longer with me, but I have access to them. I decided that I'm going to go out on my own because I didn't like sitting there in a circle arguing over WordPress this, WordPress that, when the rest of the world doesn't either care about WordPress or know about WordPress accurately. But WordPress itself is awesome under the hood. The problem with WordPress is the way that you execute adding old-fashioned, oldie-timey plugins was holding everything back. And the ecosystem and the marketplace and the politics and the drama, just who cares? The world is moving too fast. I'm too old for that. I want to get to the destination of, ta-da, an amazing new world with new stuff. So this is the last time I'm going to mention WordPress in today's conversation. I decided to go off on this experiment to see whether or not this AI thing was real enough. And in the process, I discovered, and you guys joined me on the ride, most of you, I was blown away with what's capable. And the result is that I have kept the promise of WordPress open source. I've kept the promise of WordPress as a box, because building on that gives me access to millions upon millions of people who are already using other stuff. But by removing the little old lady swallowed a fly problems of the current ecosystem, I'm able to build purposefully individual solutions or full custom, literally, systems that run on top of WordPress without having to use plugins and traditional stuff. So the long story short is, WordPress is at the foundation of what we do. It gives us the ownership, the control, the main box, but we are really no longer using WordPress components on top of it, with a few exceptions. When I get new customers in, we're always using either WooCommerce or sometimes, very rarely, sometimes FluentCRT. WooCommerce is just the engine you need with all of the tools built in to manage transactional engine kind of stuff. And I do not want to take that on as a responsibility. We could build stuff that works directly with Stripe, no problem, or PayPal or anything else. But having WooCommerce as a transactional engine provides an ecosystem that's unparalleled of other things that work with WooCommerce. Number two is that we're going to continue recommending and using FluentCRM as the CRM to act with all of the other stuff. But what I have found in my real world practice is that a good majority of people who are using the other big name CRMs like Salesforce, HubSpot, Infusionsoft, ActiveCampaign, and more, I mean, there's 66 of them, they in some cases cannot leave those CRMs right away. And in those cases, what we do is we just create an ecosystem where the custom tools built by the dudes work with an intermediary CRM or management of leads. Like, for example, in Minute Launch, we got Minute Launch Remodeler, which is the lead intake system that manages all of those intakes. If you're using one of our dashboard components, it can take in all of your new contacts. It doesn't require FluentCRM, but if you have FluentCRM or can use FluentCRM, magic ensues. If you have a third-party CRM like Salesforce or HubSpot, we connect to it. Like, for example, in the Fathom tool, Minute Launch Fathom, everybody who's in HubSpot obviously can use Zoom and Fathom to be able to take those sales calls and turn them into contacts and lead information inside of HubSpot without having to use FluentCRM is valuable. All right. So just two components that are probably still going to be on the top of the radar will be the FluentCRM, WooCommerce. There's going to be others as well, but we've gotten rid of so many other things, and in the process built the flexibility to have the outcome we want without the overhead. So for example, LearnDash for learning management, content management, all those. It's been a fixture in the community for a decade or more, Justin Fearnman. But it is a bloated pig of old-fashioned stuff. I mean, I can't tell you how horrifically bloated it is and how difficult it is to set stuff up compared to just having lessons, courses, quizzes, display of content, membership, and so forth that we can do just quickly and easily using the lightweight tools. All right. So if you're with me on that, the where we were and where we're going is we've discovered that now we've got a stack of tools that can be sold, rented, if you will, to somebody to own and control their own destiny or those of their clients, starting at self-hosted $97 a month, including AI keys that allows somebody essentially not to have to go out and pay for other keys or other services from things like Anthropic or ChatGPT or Perplexity or Gemini. It doesn't mean you shouldn't or you couldn't. It means that you don't need to. In other words, you can literally put in a free plugin, press a button, get AI answers immediately on all of the things you could do, and then pay $97, cha-ching, instant satisfaction on your own hosting. If you go with the self-hosted, you don't get any Spence or any Fernando in the team. You're on your own, but it does have built-in AI capabilities. So it's not like you're really on your own. You're just on your own because you're hosting yourself. You're managing your own backups, your own security. You have no me in the middle between you and your hosting company. That extra $100 is a huge value. You get unlimited support via email from myself, Fernando, and the team. You get all of our intermediary work with the hosting company if you needed it. You get backup, security, the knowledge, peace of mind of knowing you've got a concierge at the desk. So when you get rid of all of the other expenses that are involved, considering my HubSpot customers are typically paying $2,500 to $4,000 or $5,000 a month, and then they're paying WP Engine some insane sum comparable to that. I have no idea how WP Engine gets away charging $150 to $1,500 a month for hosting. There are clients of mine who have literally said, I just met you, Spence, but by the way, I'm $60,000 ahead just from what you can replace. And in the process, you also eliminated Elementor. You eliminated me having to hire a HubSpot consultant. You eliminated the need for me to be confused about how I'm going to manage my business. Okay. So now you hopefully following with me. We have a stack of stuff that's one button easy to manage, has an interface that allows you to essentially have any tool that you need for the specific job. What are the outcomes that are the most valuable? Well, ironically, the outcomes that are the most valuable are the simplest. And that's what my clients are seemingly coming on board. And so I am now building specific tools and applications to show people what to do. And I'm going to now go into sharing mode because I have so much to share with you. I'm going to show you the screen in the screen in the screen. And by the way, over on the left, I've got my little bonus surprise, which is Goose over there. I want to start out by taking you to the salesy stuff first, just because. You guys have been with me a million years. You understand all this stuff. So it's not like I'm trying to impress you, but $97 a month, $970 a year, self-hosted. $197 a month, $1970 a year, fully hosted. If you want, you could go $497 and have built-in email list building, email automation. I do basic email marketing services for you or your agency clients. And these offer, by the way, $20 a month affiliate commission, $40 a month, $97, I think, or it's $100. I forgot if I rounded it up a month. So you can have between $240, $480, or $1,200 a year just by referring customers to me who use the basic services. But in return, you can demonstrate to them how they are literally saving thousands upon thousands of dollars, not only in the actual costs of tools and services they don't need, but in the fact that they're actually getting real work stuff done. That is to say, with the expertise and the capabilities of the Minute Launch system, basic email marketing, 99% of people are not doing. If you ask your friends, your customers, your people that you know who have their own businesses, hey, how big is your list? And they go, what's a list? You go, the list of people that are your clients or prospective clients, knucklehead. Most of these people will look at you like, what? And you say, how is it possible in 2026 you don't even have a list, let alone marketing to them or figuring out what your business does? So just that alone, and then having the hourly support option, you don't get a commission on this because that's pure Spence time, but I do $300 an hour, or I can do a concierge, which is like a baby retainer, $1,500 a month to manage marketing management, content creation, social media, SEO, email campaigns, analytics, reporting, and growth. That's just having Spence around at a discount of paying me hourly to do the kinds of things that most businesses that have a list want to do. Most people pay 5 to 10 times that for an expert. I have a new client from over the weekend while I was in Boca who said she was gearing up to pay somebody $10,000 $1,000 for running HubSpot. And I'm like, holy mackerel. There's the VIP experience, and this is the conversion tool. If you have a client or you are the client who wants to come into this world, this is where you come into the club, you get entrance to our VIP legacy team, where essentially I make a commitment to you. We're going to take you from where you're at to where you want to go. No need for us to ring the bell on hours and keeping track of time. Usually this extends into not just building the original thing, but also helping you with the business and the marketing and so forth. Okay, I want to talk about tools because this is really super relevant. First of all, Minute Launch itself, when we go on the back end, is the singular plugin that comes through the plugin manager. I want to bring you guys up to speed how ridiculously simple this is. If anybody for free, and I've done this before, goes to minutelaunch.com/ML, or you click the button that'll be there, you get a free plugin. Now, I've shown you this before. If I go to try.new, which is ZipWP's free launcher, you can see how insanely easy this is. I literally just go minutelaunch.com/ML. I download the plugin, and if you do it, make sure you say keep it. There's a little security thing on Windows that says, do you really want this zip file? I then go to plugins, add plugin, and this is the only plugin that you absolutely need to have. You do not need to have anything else, although you'll probably want, as I mentioned, WooCommerce free. You will probably want FluentCRM free, and you may optionally want to do something with subscriptions or pro stuff, in which case that's built in to the package. If you are getting our Minute Launch, it has our complete software bundle. So you get all of the traditional software that you already were used to, and you don't have to buy elsewhere. This is just a traditional agency model where we have all of the original software, and there's probably closer to $6,000 of stuff here. We provide all of it to you as part of the same bundle, so that if you do have a traditional stuff, you don't have to continue paying and trying to get help, which you'll never get from other people for things outside the scope of their plugin. Notice with the plugin manager, I go to the plugin manager, and on the free version, I get nothing except two things. I get the canvas block, which is incredibly valuable for building stuff using a replacement for the page builder bulk. I also do get the ability to do the key managers if I want. Even though I don't have a key, I can use the same tools once they come in to put in my key management. That is to say, if I have an OpenRouter key or I have some other Anthropic key or something else, you can use your keys. I don't know why you'd want to, but in the free version, you get this one thing, which is awesome. This green button is already instantly AI enabled. Everything you need to know about Minute Launch and building stuff is here for free, and you can use this as much as you want. I want to know how to build a website. Again, we're not into building websites per se, we're into building business solutions, but it will tell you everything you need to know and refer you to the specific plugins, the techniques. It's all self-contained. If I want to ask it, like, I'm really interested in making a shit ton of money quickly, do you have tools that will let me do that in the space of working with real estate agents? It has enough brains to give you suggestions based upon experiences and skills and things that we have on what to use. So tools I have access to: Minute Launch Remodeler. Here's how you'd use it to show clients what their house could look like. Minute Launch Social, automate social media posts for agent listings. ML Fathom. Do you see how crazy easy this is now? There's no cost to this. This plugin is connected to a plugin manager that when a person takes me up on a very, 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 very subtle, notice, see this little teeny tiny thing. This says free AI preview, upgrade for premium. Only then does it take them to choose to subscribe. And if they subscribed, then what happens is it turns on the rest of the stuff that allows them the experience that they would see here, which is, okay, now I've got all of the components when I don't click away from the page. Now I've got all of the components, and notice, unlike WordPress, I click one button, and all of the plugins, virtual or physical, are upgraded. Notice at the bottom, I've got the API key manager where all of the keys that are necessary, OpenRouter, the paid key, is included in the subscription to use any of the newest models. That in and of itself will save somebody between $100 and $200 a month. But more importantly is that all of these tools save their data in one spot. So as I've shown you before, when I use Fathom for a business customer who has HubSpot, all of their meetings, here's a call with Steve Grant that I can show you, all of their meetings are available. Here's, if I log back into Fathom, which I'll do, it will refer me specifically to the meeting I had with Steve Grant before I went to Boca, right? I can see the video itself. By the way, I'm up to 404 points. I'm on the way to 480 again, like last year. Here's the video itself. But more importantly, it gives me the AI sales intelligence where I can ask it in context of my site. Can you summarize the top 3 things that I need to do to make Steve happy from this call? Okay. I take this information, every single call I've ever got, it's saved inside of here so that the tools, including the Minute Launch Coach, including the site builder, including the other dashboard stuffs, are able to know exactly where I am in the business and what I have to do to send somebody correspondence that matches up with our call. And that instantly changes the game from a marketing perspective, because I have a call with somebody for free. Like this weekend, I have a new client, 100%. I'll explain to you after she signs up on Monday, who is running a 6, maybe better figure a year business and spending all this money on wasted tools and frustrated. I was able to have a call with her at the pool, take the information down, and then using Fernando, he's able to figure out what she said and I said in a way to explain back to her exactly what it is that I have to offer her and put it into a letter format that is gorgeous, that looks like it was written by a professional calligrapher team. Okay. Here's what the A's tell me. The 3 things from the call to make Steve happy. And he, again, is a client and a business partner. He needs granular permission. He needs missing dashboard chiclets. He needs system. If I took this information, for example, I could already have this available to the coach, but I can also use my desktop tools. Over here on the left is Fernando. Sorry, this is Goose on the left. But if I open up Fernando, I'm going to open up, I have him on the desk here because I was working with him. Here's Fernando. Let's bring him over to the left. Or I'll just leave him in the middle. Let's just do a new chat. And what I would do is say this. Good morning, Fernando. It's Spence. I just had a call with Steve Grant. This is actually a simulation. Use the template that you have that you've used for other people like Jimmy and Mindy and Steve Grant in the past, the one that's the minute launch format that's written by you. I want you to write a letter to Steve that tells him we're going to take care of this stuff and why it's awesome to have this new system of having you and the team working for me. Okay. I've got a little better system than this because I've got things templated out. If you look at my email here, I've got correspondence. You maybe can see this. It's called communications. And communications are all of the emails that he has created in the past so he can refer to them. But notice one other thing too, and this is very subtle. Anne, if you're here today, Anne was talking to me earlier about, she was having a little frustration with Cursor because I think there's a new installation that I haven't installed yet, but that if you're using Cursor, you have a choice of different LLM models. I ran up a $2,900 bill this month using Opus 4.6 because it's the most expensive of the mainstream commercial models. I am going to show you how I'm experimenting with both Cursor's internal model called Composer 2, which is doing a reasonable job, or what we call frontier models, open source models, things like GLM 5, Minimo version 2. And I have those on Goose, and you're going to be, the difference is 500 to 1,000% less cost to get the same output. But right now, Composer 2, I'm going to go here with what I've done before. And I'm going to take the top 3 action steps. What I sometimes do also, by the way, is sometimes I'm not doing it this time. Sometimes I'll take the whole transcript and I will do it this way. By the way, you can also use the AI summary. So I have so many different ways you can interact with this. But the point is, if you just did it like on automatic mode, all I am doing is pasting in some stuff and asking him to give me an output. And usually within a couple seconds, he creates the output and I can preview it. You can do this now inside of Minute Launch using the new coach. I'm going to show you in a minute that I've been updating the coach for one of my clients and the rest of you guys to give him almost parallel situations to what you can do in Cursor or Claude or Goose or the mobile friendly versions of Gemini and so forth. Because what I want is a unified experience where somebody can just manage all of their stuff. The main benefit of using Minute Launch, though, as you've hopefully figured out, is instead of my random stuff being in all these other outside tools, it's all in a box that continues to grow and get better over time. It's a box that has my media, my files, my correspondence, my logic, my sales tools, my metrics, all of it in one box I own and control at a fixed cost per month of $197. But that also has a concierge of Spence and the whole team of Fernando behind it. It has Rocket.net hosting. It has backup, security, CDN, incredible capabilities with all of the safety nets and services in there for $197 a month or $1970 a year. It's an unparalleled value that replaces everything else that you would otherwise pay for, except you will bring to the table your own SMTP services. That is typically an inexpensive, while he's writing this letter, I have been finding that SMTP to go is the best one of all. It's free for up to 200 emails a day. So you can sign up yourself or your clients, no credit card required, in 3 minutes, especially if you have GoDaddy for your DNS. Boom, you're connected. If you wanted to go with the paid version, $15 gets you 10,000 emails a month. That's enough for most normal businesses. You want to jack that up a bit? Fine. Go to 100,000 emails a month for $75. Crazy value considering what I'm going to show you in a minute. I like them better than even SendGrid, because SendGrid's got these wacky two-factor authentication logins that drives me crazy. Okay, he's created the letter and he's given it to me here at Publish Pages. Okay, so I'm going to go to Publish Pages. I'm going to show you why I'm doing this. Steve Grant follow-up. Notice how he's organizing it. Now I'm going to reveal this in File Explorer. And the reason is I'm going to open it up in Chrome. And I can open this in a lot of things, but here is what he created for me. So imagine a situation just on a pure value proposition. You're running a real estate office. You're running a law firm. You're running a medical office. You're doing coaching. Imagine you've got a dude working 24/7 that every time you talk to a client, whether you use John Lawler's Plaud pin or whether you use your phone or you use Zoom with Fathom, if you just record or get a transcript of what happened, your dude can turn it into these awesome business summaries that explain everything that would have taken you forever to do. And notice the format. I love where we've arrived on this. It's clean, it's simple, it's professional, it's for Gen X and baby boomers, very comfortable feeling. It doesn't feel like, notice the lack of emojis and all that crazy AI stuff, which I've specifically kicked out of this. Now, when he creates this, whether it's in the site or separately, this becomes part of the context for the future. It knows now that it's got this stuff available to it. So if in the future I go into the coach, I'm going to show you in a moment, and I use the coach has access to all of this context. If you go into the configuration of context sources, you will notice ML Fathom is one of the sources, including all the other sources as well. And I can individually turn them on and off if I wish. But the point is, unlike a rando box, even Perplexity or OpenAI's, very nice interface, having this stuff in the box that you own and control, and having access to it remotely, which we do now, means that we've got an experience that is unique to ourselves and eliminates all those third-party things. So even just for a busy medical nutritionist, a supplement person, a person who's doing coaching, a person who is an attorney, a consultant, somebody who's a real estate broker, all of the things you need to be created could be created on a person-to-person, moment-to-moment basis versus having to create all of these pre-configured templates. And as you can tell, the look and feel of it is awesome, which is another conversation I've been having when it comes to what is the highest and best purpose of all these tools. Well, guess what? It's not. It's not building websites, because every single tool in town can build websites now. This is based on the idea of consolidating into a simple stack with one place that everything works, that you own and control, and a concierge, everything that you're trying to build as a business. This email that I created is ready to be formatted and sent through Gmail or through FluentCRM. I want to show you that trick too. I'll just open up because I closed it too quick. But if I open up in my history here, this is just a great party trick, but it's literally true. Notice this email. If I were to take this email, I can either use my automatic stuff or just copy paste. I copy this and I go over here and I say create new, and I paste it in, and ta-da, this sucker is perfect, ready to go in Gmail or any other email product that you use. If you're using Microsoft 365 or something else, you can't easily do that through other systems. And so that's a side benefit of doing all of this stuff at a base price. And you show these things to your customers and they go, what? Now, let me also refer you to something that I'm building for all of you guys. Is the Minute Launch Coach is one of 3 interfaces that you can interact with. It has been developing based upon input from real customers. And I'm actually going to do a live update here. This is kind of risky, but I was doing a development update as we speak. Here is Coach, and I'm working with him this morning. He's come up with 3.5.2. So I'm going to just show you under the hood. Normally, you guys wouldn't see this. This is how easy it is. I choose to make my updates. Zachy, have a safe ride. Let me know when you got there, okay? Bye, buddy. If I go over here where I'm developing the plugins and I go to plugin files, ML Coach, I'm going to update the latest version from my developmental dashboard. And when I do that, notice it's just sending it up to the server that I use to distribute. This can distribute to tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people. I rescan the inventory, and now watch what happens. I've updated Coach to version, where is he now? He's a version 3.5.2. So if I go over here and I go back to the dashboard, I go to the plugin manager. If I click update, notice Coach here's, oh, he's already 3.5.2, but I guess I had already updated it before I started the show. All that would be necessary to get him to the latest version is just hit update all plugins. Now, Coach himself has got a unique interface, and we're working on the metaphor here to try to make it as close as possible to what people are getting through their other tools like Perplexity or ChatGPT or Claude, where we have granular capability of managing projects, chats in projects, files associated with chats in projects, and correspondence. And I'm still tweaking this, but the hope is that once I get this worked out as good as possible, we're going to have an interface that essentially feels and acts like all of the other mobile tools, but gives you the ability to do exactly what I just showed you there from a mobile device. And the benefit on top of it is that you'll have access to all of your other tools, your media library, your skills, your so on and so forth. And I've shown you this before, so I'm not going to belabor it, but the idea is in the next couple days, the interface for what you do, and let me go into Spence focus mode, is going to change from one of individual tools into Tony Stark talking to Jarvis. the end game that we've arrived at is one interface, mobile friendly, headset enabled, that is either the desktop dude working autonomously or the website dude working autonomously by you giving it instructions and it executing on its own the instructions to build stuff. And then the instructions, this is kind of the weird part, do the things that you normally would have had to do manually or hire office staff to do. So if I'm running a real estate office, there are procedures in place for onboarding new leads, getting them signed up, signing paperwork, making contracts, doing offers, doing inspections, doing checklists, all of that drudge work. Usually real estate agencies hire teams for. I used to run one myself. Many of us had dozens of people working for us in the past. Now you can have that built in. So if you're a lean, mean, fighting machine real estate office and you want to have this kind of capability, we've already got the stuff under the hood to do the amazing things, like here's a lead intake form, or here's the research tool, or here's the phone call tool, or here's the analytics that I need, the correspondence that I need, the media creation I need. But you can actually have an agent that is built in that costs you nothing else that will be part of the deal. I am not favorable to this current interface right now. It's got too much weird shadows and rounding, but let's see if he's awake. What's the date and time? I'm not sure what he's set up for, but what's interesting is you can use this new interface, obviously like you would ChatGPT or something else, just drag and drop your stuff in here and you're good to go. You can also access your existing media library and so forth. So, you know, whether it's used to create stuff or whatever, we've got the ability to go, hey, this is a picture of Spence. Create an image of Spence on the beach in Boca Raton from this image. Keep his face the same. Make it 16 by 9. I don't know if I have this hooked up to Gemini or if I have it set up to ChatGPT, but the point is, just like in chat, where you're using their simple interface, ChatGPT is the same as Perplexity, is the same as as Claude. They've just got this thing where you like drop stuff in place, right? And then when you do, you start asking it to do things. I think that these things should be equally simple, right? I mean, literally, I would be like, you know, using this and I would tell it what to do. And so I think that's where we're going with all of this. And when you think that, let's say you want to do the autonomous stuff of minute launch claw, you can have it work on projects. Like last night, I was with my friend Eric having a cocktail for his birthday. And I took out my phone and I used Goose with the minute launch system to build a plugin remotely from the bar with the conversation. And he was a Drupal guy. He's a Drupal developer. He's like, what? That's crazy. And that's my point. My point is, if you were a busy real estate agent with a headset on, or you're a doctor or working in a nutrition office, or if you're somebody who's a coach or doing training or doing real estate, the ability to actually interact in a way that is autonomous, but also keeps all of the stuff, right? Like, I'm not sure I like this guy. This guy does not look like he's in shape like I like to think I am. But the point is, if I go back to the dashboard, under the hood, all of these objects and things that he created are in place. And we're getting better and better, as I'm going to tell you in a second, with the frontier models. I'm going to go and show you in Goose in a second. But if I go in here, you guys already know that media is in the normal media library, but the tools we provide you in the media library now are supercharged so that we can do other stuff with it. Like we can iterate from it. We can build a prompt. These are the tools that normally people have to pay extra and get elsewhere. And then their stuff is scattered all over the place. And that's kind of crazy, especially considering if we go into certain modes, like creating an AI image, we've got a specialty builder in here that really lets somebody focus on doing exactly what they need to, even if they are a rookie. Okay, let's talk about costs and other tools on the desktop. Why is Spence using Goose? Or why am I using Claude desktop? Why am I using Cursor? Good morning. I didn't see you there. And I like the picture. Good morning. the dude who lives in the site here, as I'm showing you, is awesome and always available on your phone. But I still do have some things that are not in my WordPress site. For example, I have a whole file structure that is a mirror of GitHub. I've shown you guys this before, and this is a method that I've worked out that is just absolutely fabulous. And one of the things that I'm going to show you in a minute that is a part of my monetization strategy is I'm going to start doing free seminars. They're going to be short. They're going to be 40 minutes or whatever. They're going to be free seminars for professionals in various industries who can literally come and see all my insider secrets. So notice I have a GitHub folder here. Each of the subfolders is something that exists as a repository in GitHub, but these are all of the creations that I have made. And the reason they are in GitHub privately is so that I don't lose anything. I have 104 repositories, most of them private, that are synchronizing my desktop content there so that I never lose anything. And when I go on a vacation or go to visit John Lawler or somebody in a warm climate, I can get on with any laptop and instantly access the stuff and give it to my guys to build. So there are advantages, among other things, of using a desktop tool. There's also the autonomous scheduling, which famously came out from OpenClaw, but is available here. If you notice down here, I've got this little in Goose, autonomous, manual, smart, chat only. I've got a scheduler here. One of these is the scheduler. Where is this? Oh, schedule's up on the left. I have the scheduler here. This is essentially like OpenClaw. I can just go, here's a bunch of stuff that I want you to run every night at 6 a.m. or whatever. I have recipes. These are such similar metaphors. If you go and look at, I'll open up here, Anthropic's version of this. Everybody is arriving at the same place, right? So here I've got chat, but I've got co-work. Co-work is the, look, I've got scheduled, I've got ideas, I've got dispatch. We're all using the same tools. We're just calling them different stuff. And so what I'm trying to explain to you is in Minute Launch, with Minute Launch Coach, who's ultimately going to be the guy that runs everything, Coach will be available with all of the same metaphors, all of the same visual capability for you, your client, individual logged in customers, and everybody will have, mostly they have already, their capabilities of managing their own personal experiences separate from everybody else. But the owner of the site will keep all of it, all of it. And that means every single thing that's ever made or talked about or created is available to the site owner as part of the bargain for what they can build from. The intelligence, the context, the capabilities get better and better and better and better and better. And this works as a complement to the other tools. Let's talk about pricing. I am in love with obviously using Cursor. Cursor, let's see if I can get to the pricing page. I am on the Ultra plan. I am building stuff that I never, ever, ever could have done before. But I just got my bill because the Ultra plan gives me access to a certain amount of stuff. I have gone so far beyond that stuff that I went into what I'm going to explain became a little tiny bit of a problem. I got to go to a different menu. They always make it a little tricky to figure out where I'm at with my plan. Hold on. I go into agent settings. That's the weird menu. It doesn't sound okay. I'm paying $200 a month for Cursor. Cursor comes loaded with not only the tools and the capabilities for doing multiple agents, which is fantastic, but by the way, Goose can do too. But it comes loaded with, it's an intermediary providing the tokens for any of the LLMs I want to use. That is to say, if I want to use Opus 4.6 from Anthropic, I am using it through my Cursor subscription. The problem is that there's a premium on Opus and there's a premium on Cursor, which really starts to happen when you look, holy shit, Spence used 105.7 million tokens from March 20th. That's only in the last 7 days. I've used 105 million tokens. when I look at my plan, $200 a month, I get a certain amount of usage. But then I set up this thing that lets them overcharge, bill me. Notice I set the limit at $3,000. Well, last month was a real gut punch. I can't tell you that I didn't get the money out of it, because I did. I signed up 3 VIP clients, so you can do the math on that. But if I look at the actual invoice for that, I believe that ended up, if it's showing it here, it's not. You can just see on a day-to-day basis. I don't know why the total's in there. Look, 200 a day, 100 a day, 100, 100, 100. I was on basically like $100 a day spending habit. And the bill came in at like $2,900 of overages. So I said to myself, I love that I could do the work. I experimented with using Cursor with their built-in Opus 4.6 capability, but it's too expensive, even for me. That's just not sustainable to throw $3,000 away on something I know could cost me $300. So now I started looking at what are your options. With Cursor, you allegedly, in the desktop model, let me pull up Fernando here. You allegedly have the ability to switch not only models, well, that's not allegedly. You do have the ability to switch models. And notice I'm using Composer 2. Composer 2 is Cursor's built-in front edge model, not frontier model, front edge. That's their best model that they make themselves. It benchmarks very similar to Opus 4.6. It costs 20% of Opus 4.6. So my $3,000 bill would have been reduced 80%, right? So I would have saved $2,400. If I wanted to, supposedly, I can add other models that are not mainstream models. And supposedly, although this has not worked yet with Cursor, supposedly, I can set this up to work with OpenRouter. And I have not yet been able to get this to work. I think it's in Cloud Agents, or it's in one of Plan and Usage. It's in one of these menus. Oh, Agents. Supposedly, you can connect Cursor to OpenAI or to OpenRouter and be able to use your own frontier models. But what happened when I tried that so far, maybe it's me, is that it was not actually able to do the things that you could do when you used one of the models plugged in here. So I'm going to have to report back to you guys on whether I ever get that to work. But I don't really care. Here's why. Because I've got Cursor and I've got Goose. Notice, by the way, I should mention, Claude Desktop, you don't get to choose anything other than Anthropic, which is kind of interesting because on the one hand, it's a good value. I mean, if this is all you need and you want to do co-work or you want to do code, this is a very capable interface. And the pricing plan, I'm on the max plan, which I think is $200 a month. This is actually more economical. I have never overaged on this, but I don't use it that much. So you can see I've been paying $200 a month every month, right? I think this is a very competent choice. And I like Anthropic's values with what they're saying they're going to do or not do. Goose is wide open. Now, here's what I mean by frontier models. This is not something that you or most people would have to worry about, but it's kind of like if I'm going to do car talk with you. If you go to OpenRouter, among other places, or you go to Hugging Face, these are sites that show how many models are available in the world. Well, guess what, kids? There's 659 LLMs, not 3, not 4. It's not just ChatGPT's thing or Open AI's thing, I should say. It's not just Anthropic's thing. It's not just Gemini. It's not just Perplexity, those 4 things. It's 659 models. And some of the models, like GLM 5 from Zia, are benchmarking out as good or better than Opus 4.6 or ChatGemini 3.0. And so being able to use them, like here I'm using GLM 5 inside of Goose with 0 headache, is amazing. Let's do a quick chat. Compare cost of Opus 4.6 to GLM 5. People are doing videos on this. GLM 5 is 90% less per million tokens. So my $3,000 bill for using Cursor could have been 300, which is like really a big deal. When you talk about actual performance, they're very, very close. Like if you do benchmarks instead of compare performance. It says here, GLM is a highly Opus may be considered superior for complex debugging. GLM 5 is surprisingly competitive. Some users finding it on par with Opus 4.6. But when you think about it, it's 90% less for something that's arguably close to the same performance. People are saying things like GLM 5 is the free Opus. Now there's also, I'm using this other one, Mini Modo. I think it was Mini Modo. Hold on, 2. Mini Max M2, Mini Moto 2. I showed this last time. Near identical coding performance for 1/10 to 1/20th of the price, which I was doing coding with the other day. That means my $3,000 bill would be $150. And yesterday, I don't want to show you what he built, but I am going to show you because we were drunk a little bit. I had him build this Hello plugin, and I knew I was going to talk about this. I should have fixed it. But you'll notice where I was on my phone, this was literally, and I had him essentially using Goose. I love showing you this little thing. Goose on my phone, just talked into it, right? I said, hey, Goose, build a plugin for my pal, Eric Kersner. You can see it here. I said, are you ready and connected? He's connected to my InstaWP Goose site. I said, are you able to write a simple single file WordPress plugin? Are you connected? I said, I'm here with my friend Eric at a bar. I want you to write a new plugin called Hi Eric Kersner. I want you to make it scrolling banner, blah, blah, blah. You've seen me do this party trick before. And the son of a gun did it. Now, that in of itself was amazing. I was at a bar with a friend, had him write a plugin, launch it on the website, show me what he did. But even cooler was this morning. This morning, I switched over. Yesterday, I was using Mini Moto 2. This morning, I switched over to GLM 5. And remember, I was talking about how are we going to use these things? I am going to be using these things, and I'm going to shift into talking about making money as quickly as possible mode. We started the conversation. It's no longer about WordPress. It's about business owners of your own business or people you can do this for. Providing them tools in a box for, as we're talking about now, a fraction of the cost. I am able to provide to hundreds of minute launch users OpenRouter keys through my distribution system without you guys paying a dime for this. When I start providing frontier models, you will have the bleeding edge of capability at a cost to me and you of almost nothing. And all of the stuff you build and make will be in a box that you have 100% ownership and control. So let's just take a pause for a second, because the ridiculousness of this, and then I haven't even shown you the thing that's going to blow you away. In June of last year, I was still debating and arguing with people about like WordPress and the flea market, and Ann and I were talking about like the million hours of time it takes to figure out how to do a dashboard or fix an element or client or make something look good. And from that hot tub moment till now, I've got a mobile interface device that does every single thing you would ever dream of doing for yourself or your clients in the phone at near negligible costs to me or you, but to the client of $97 a month or $197 a month. And that those costs replace what would have been software that I've shown you as full systems might have been $30, $40, $60, $100,000 or more per year. And every day that goes on, I'm able to create easier ways for it to make stuff happen. Like I just showed you a moment ago, how just taking a Fathom call can turn into an output to a customer that's custom to them for the thing you want them to know or do or see. And as you begin to talk to the thing, like I'm at a bar with Eric and it's making stuff for customers, but I could schedule Goose over here. I could schedule Goose to work while I'm at the bar and just tell me that he's done. John is asking, how do I add GLM5 to Goose? It ain't listed. Okay, let me actually show you how simple this is. For those of you who are not using Goose yet, just download Goose for free. Just type Goose. Well, you can go to this. It's block.github, but you probably want to search for Goose and then Jack Dorsey or Goose GitHub. And when you get it, it's free to install. It virtually is just, download, open up. You go into here, the model setting at the bottom. Let me share the screen. You go down here into the model setting at the very bottom. My mouse is way down here. And then it says change model. And here you can choose whether you want to use Anthropic, another provider, or OpenRouter. OpenRouter is the way to go. You are welcome to use the key I gave you. God bless you. So another value proposition of Minute Launch is I give you guys the keys. I'm going to show you how to go farther. But if you go into your Minute Launch plugin manager and you wanted to see the key, you could get the key. Now, I'm not suggesting that I'm here as pimping out keys, but I'm saying I'm able to offer the value of the key as part of the deal. I don't, for some reason in here, it says get free key. For some reason, it's not showing the key in here, but I assure you, I have a way for you to see the key. But the point is going back over here, you go into change model, choose OpenRouter, and then what you want to do is put in the right verbiage. Since this isn't preloaded with every one of the 659 models, it just has some of them. You can say use custom model. And then what I do is I go to OpenRouter and I just see where it says ZA GLM5. Just copy the name and paste it in so that you get the syntax right. That's the important thing. If you don't get the syntax right, it's going to be like, what? When you get the syntax right, you're good to go. Now, here's where I'm going to blow you guys away. A couple months ago, I talked about I was creating sales pages automatically with a grid that compared benefits, features, and competitors. And it was writing content into Minute Launch. At the time, it seems very quaint even. I didn't really bother going farther with it because at the time, I still wanted to build some of the tools, which I feel like now we're coming around. But you'll notice I was doing all of these little like samples like GoDaddy managed WordPress, brand name versus performance, DigitalOcean, Cloudways. Like all of these drafts were designed for what I'm about to show you, which was what if we could create marketing that sells Minute Launch to everybody in various verticals, real estate, law, supplements, coaching, whatever. And by the way, I'm not talking yet about the custom solutions, like when I show you the new Cyrano thing that has this multi-coach capability, which I'm going to be releasing as part of the strategy. You'll see this in a second, but I'm not even talking about the custom solutions. I'm talking about just the base capabilities of just some of the things I showed you a minute ago, like the ability to just do your correspondence and mic stuff. This is some product I'm about to release, which is also associated to Minute Launch Coach and Cyrano, but allows me multi-coach portals that can be sold so that my clients, your clients, can literally take all of their content and have the content available in this sort of amazing behind a paywall, and you can have anybody on mobile or otherwise ask questions about any of the content, take quizzes, do lessons, even continue the personal chat with the AI about the content specific to that coach. But notice, this is a multi-coach solution. So you could have a team, even these are clients of mine, but you can have unrelated clients or related people or just generic, and it could have all of their content either merged together separately I'm going to answer this question in a second. Goose AI is not good morning. I don't know if it's Jonathan or Kurt. Good morning. Goose is not Chinese. Goose is Jack Dorsey from Twitter fame, and it's open source. So Jack Dorsey, Goose, he's done, in this case, a pretty amazing thing, because what he's done is given us a way to crack open the cost of something like a cursor. The choice of which model to use definitely does. Hi, Jonathan. Sorry I missed you yesterday for your show. The choice of model, that's where you get into what you're asking about, which is, okay, there's 659 models. Which of these are Chinese from the People's Republic? I have no idea. I think that some of them, like DeepSeek, are definitely, in that area. But when you look at some of these other models, for example, the reason I'm into Minimoto too, this is actually, I'm going to do a little diversion for a second. There is a car company that is absolutely killing it in the world. Chinese electric cars. This is why we can't have nice stuff in the United States. They have cars that will blow us away if they were released here. Okay. One of them in particular has an interface that is basically, because they're a car company that was starting out as a phone company. Like if Apple made cars, and I think the name of the car was, I was just looking at now, it's the same company. So who is Minimoto company name? That's bad English, sorry. I have to backtrack. It's not Daewoo. That's not right. Hold on. I forgot the name of the company. I'm having a brain fart. It's Xiaomi. Okay. So Xiaomi makes this car called the SU7 EV. Okay. It's crazy. SU7 EV. They actually, for this car, besides it just blowing away everything I've ever seen, for $30,000, has a dashboard that is remarkable. And the dashboard's remarkable. Not only is this come on, this car is so crazy. The dashboard's remarkable because it essentially comes from a phone maker. If I do dashboard, I'm going to take you guys on a little journey with me. Okay, so here's you can kind of see the dashboard. Not that dissimilar to Tesla stuff, but it doesn't have the usual Google nonsense on it. But when you look at Xiaomi and you go LLM models, this is how I arrived at what we're talking about, which is Xiaomi Minimo version 2 Pro. Okay, and if I go here, Xiaomi Mimo V2 Pro, and then I do OpenRouter. That's how I arrived here. And this is where, again, we just discussed it. It's 50 cents compared to $30 or something for the same throughput. And when you look at the performance and everything else, so if I wanted to use Minimo Pro 2, I just copy it here and I do the same thing. Change model, paste it in, right? I could just get rid of this one and go paste, use it, select. So what's really nice about Goose is it gives us autonomy. But here's the surprise I'm going to blow you guys away with. So we're at the top of the hour. Okay. I asked it, I said, do me a favor. Take a few prompts and let's build some dynamic testing. Can you build me an earthquake monitoring system, including a map and event feed? And give it to me. And it's like, sure, Spence. Okay. So it gave me this. Now, I'm not trying to impress you with the thing it built per se, but it built me this on the first prompt from Goose that is essentially a world map of all the places that recently had earthquakes and why and when. Okay. Now, I can't tell you how crazy this is to see, but like literally it just made it on the first prompt. Then I said, okay, you got me at hello. Make a vending machine business simulator that is running a business for a year, focusing on making maximum revenue while managing the inventory, cash flow, and bottleneck failures. And it's like, sure, Spence, I can do that. And by the way, cost to me was virtually nothing. And it made, let me copy properly. It made this. And these are all running on my local desktop. It made a vending machine business simulator where I can adjust like restocking, repairing, all the little games, or I can run it in autonomous mode to make the most money. And when you run it, my target is to make $4,400. You run the simulator, it runs through all of the things that you have given it as variables based upon things that you know for a fact in the real world. So for example, let's say I really was in the vending machine business. I used to be in the real estate business. I can run this at 1 speed, 10x speed, 50 speed, and can run through the simulation. It can tell me based upon things that I put into it, whether I made profit. In this case, I made $241. I lost $1,500. I can play again and I can change the variables, how much of different things I put in, where the location is, and so forth. So what this did for me was made a simulator for a particular business. Then I said, hold on. I have a bunch of people that are coming from real estate, law, medicine, supplements, coaching. I've got all these different things to sell them from Minute Launch. I said right here, let's create a simulator that instead of doing vending machine stuff, I'm going to literally show you. I said, could this be applied for my business with Minute Launch, where I have certain products and you create a simulation of how my sales might work if doing different marketing tactics? See the site at Minute Launch and in the pricing table, see my products and services. Can you adapt your simulation to that? And he said, sure, Spence. And then I said, could you do some research on how to market stuff using YouTube videos or other free content, how you could grow and nurture an audience and sell? These are WordPress customers or business owners of various niches who use other CRMs now, like HubSpot, Salesforce. And you have information, because it does, about how I, overtake them with these features, like I just shared with you. He's like, sure, Spence. So he created the simulator. And I'm going to show you that, but he came up with all these things. Here's my real products that he got from my website. Here's the marketing tactics that I can test. YouTube channel, email nurturing, weekly webinars, blog content, community building, referral programs, social media, agency partnerships. It gave a few competitors, like I showed you, I have 200 of them, but HubSpot, Salesforce, others. Key insights, how to use. Then I said, does this have the ability to run full autonomous to figure out the best strategy? He's like, sure, Spence. And I said, do it in a mode that's a different URL. So here's the first one that he built for me, which allows me to choose which tactics to try. I'm going to turn on the YouTube channel and email, and then I'm going to use or not use different products, and I'm going to run the simulator, and I'm going to say, how long is it going to be, a week or a month? And I can run it at different speeds. And this is going to give me a simulation based upon certain variables that obviously are hypothetical, but I could tweak how, whether, and when I could achieve the goal of getting certain revenue, certain audience members, certain intakes by doing things like, I'm going to have a YouTube channel with tutorials, demos, and competitor content. And I'm going to offer from there like a paid webinar or selling one of the products. And so this simulator is what I'm going to use. And I'm going to show you when I do the live content, how the simulator is comparing to the real world. And I'm also going to be using the feedback loop of the YouTube videos, feeding the dude in Goose what is actually happening so he can adjust it. Now, this can run based upon me making choices. I said, give me the one that is autonomous. So this can be running in the background, and he can be automatically checking my YouTube, checking my email, checking the stuff that everybody talks about with Claw, that of course I'm not going to let him write emails to you automatically, but he can read stuff and see who signs up. And so here he can run a number of simulations and weeks and plow through this thing and come up with strategies that work. So his best strategy came up with that'd be amazing, but 340,000 ARR, 2,500 customers, and I can ask him to give me the exact details of what it was that worked with that. Again, a lot of this is hypothetical, but he's actually showing, almost like in Vegas, what worked, why it worked. The one that worked was number one. I'm going to ask him here. Goose, I'm on the show with my friends and customers. I ran the new simulation. I think this is super awesome. Can you explain how you came up with some of the assumptions for the strategy that worked, that came up with like 340,000 of ARR? And also, I was telling everybody that you were planning on making this actually a feedback loop with my real YouTube channel, my real emails, my real stuff, so you can monitor it. Can you explain how that would work? So there's a certain degree of holy shit, what is going on here when I say things like this, because I'm literally talking to my computer and asking it to give me business strategy. But you know what I know? I've been doing this almost 20 years in this space. And Jonathan is here from WP Tonic, my friend Jonathan Dunwood. But when I said in the Christmas of 2024, I'm going to do something about it, this is what I was talking about. There is absolutely no reason that people who are familiar with WordPress are still pretending that riding a horse is a good idea in a world where I've got a computer who can do my bidding with a custom system that costs less than everything else and only uses 1-2 plugins. And it will show me and teach me and do for me what I need to do to generate revenue. Now, does that mean human beings will respond accordingly? No. But it means that I could never do this. I admit it. I could never do this. I am too lazy, too slow, too human. Okay? But he can do all of it. You already know because I've shown you under the hood. I've got Minute Launch Social. Minute Launch Social gives the dude from Minute Launch Coach the capability, even though, yes, I could compose the posts manually like I did this morning. Look, here's my post announcing to all of you guys. Even though I could do this manually, I can give him the ability to do this. He can get my YouTube content. He can generate the necessary social media posts and create them. He can tweak them, adjust them. He can create images of me using the media capability that I just showed you a minute ago inside of Minute Launch Image Editor. He can make a compilation of all of this stuff, and he can write plugins to tweak stuff or adjust the code. You see what I'm saying? It's like I'm a little freaked out here because this means everybody's screwed or not screwed. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to come back to this. There's a thing called the K-curve. Okay. Let's go to Claude to explain. Please explain the K-curve and what it means to people who are doing old-fashioned tech or business work. The K-curve, before he announces, is essentially in the old days, back when 5 minutes ago, there was an X and Y graph, and there was a straight line from the bottom to the top. And that was the ideal balance between people that have nothing and do nothing and people that have it all and do it all. And the problem is the world is whacked now because of the K-curve. The K-curve is a result of end-stage capitalism gone awry. When certain people, Mark Andreessen and his ilk, get a hold of endless resources, Elon Musk and Zuckerberg and the Blackstone and all these other sycophants get a hold of endless capital. They think everything with their friends should be at the top of the K-curve and all the rest of us should be at the bottom. And the result is there is no middle anymore, and everybody becomes a character in a Marie Antoinette, Julius Caesar play. And that's happened inside WordPress in a little weird way, but it's really happening in the larger world. If you're not executing like I'm showing you now, everybody else is going to be or is, and the end result is you're going to be effed, completely effed, because once the difference between the top and the bottom curves is too much, you can't get back up there. You can't get back on the ride, okay? You can't. He's talking it in terms of me. Show a graph of the K-curve in dashboard, in artifact. I'll show you the visual of this. But the reason that this is so imperative for you and your customers to do this is you don't have the time. Mullenweg is out of his mind thinking that like WordPress is eventually going to get around to this, because by the time you get around to it, it's too late. This is a tsunami that's already here. When I was on Jonathan's show last month and I talked to my dear friend Katie, she was talking as if she like thinks this is going to happen sometime in the future. I'm like, Katie, my goodness. Okay, so Marcus is saying, thanks for the deep dive in Goose. I know you have to, he has to run. Please send us a follow-up email, how to find key in ML plugin manager. I will do that. Sorry, Marcus, for not showing you. I believe I just have to reveal it to you guys. It's there, but here's the K-curve stuff. And old school holdouts, okay, once you get to this point, I don't even think it's 21 months. I think it's going to happen faster. You are cooked. You will not get back on this bus. There is no going back to this bus, okay? Their productivity index up here is whatever. It's even here. What is the line? There should be a little doodad on there. It's got like a link that is, there it is. 179 productivity index. And down here, your productivity index is negative something. I don't even know what the line is. It's zero. I mean, it's literally, it's zero. And this is 179. All right. I want to kind of bring this around for a landing, because one of the things that I think that's the takeaway from today, either you become a VIP and join me at the leading edge of all this, or by the way, you don't have to be a VIP. You don't have to have me do stuff for it. You can just join Minute Launch. Many of you already have, or hopefully you are going to, for the 197. But if you have people that are just regular people, the savings to them, real estate brokers, people who sell stuff for a living, mom and pop stores, here's the value proposition. That 197 a month, that gives you 40 a month. That's 500 almost a year, 480 bucks a year. Gives them one place, one set of tools that even if they use one of those, just one of them, for correspondence, for making email lists, for sending out documents to customers, let alone running analyses of their business or building custom dashboards or applications. You don't even need to do that, just the fun stuff. It's worth it. You're picking up 500 bucks a year. Go find 10 people and get them signed up, because they're immediately saving $100 to $200 a month of value just on the LLM alone, because you're not just using the tool. I'm giving you the free key from OpenRouter plus the interface plus the place where all of the stuff goes. By the way, I'm going to shut off the naughty thing that Goose did so I can show you before we go. We were drunk. What do you want me to tell you? We did something that it made a message that was naughty, not even safe for me. Let me just log in there and I'll show you. But you have the capability for even Goose on the desktop to essentially create and manage the whole website. So everything they're doing now manually, whether it's their time or they're hiring somebody or they're paying some bullshit consultant from HubSpot, that's the old world. It's the old world. Or they're spending money on plugins and endlessly doing stuff through LearnDash and Elementor and oh my God. Okay, so hold on, I'm going to the plugin. I'm turning off the naughty one. Okay. And I'm deleting it. Okay, now I'm going to go back. I'm going to show you one last thing. I'm going to go back over to this other thing. And I'm going to go to WordPress Hello plugin. By the way, just so I can prove to you how this works, I'm going to open up Goose here. And this is just, I couldn't believe how awesome this was. I go into my thing and I go into my today and my little tab and I connect to WordPress Hello plugin. You can kind of see it. It's the same thing on the screen here. And I'm going to say to him, hey, good morning, Goose. It's Spence. I'm doing my live office hours and I love the plugin you wrote for me and Eric Kersner last night, but I realized I was being very, very naughty and we said some naughty words. Can you make a clean version of it that says, hi, everybody who's at the office hours, this is Goose, and change the words on the Eric Kersner ticker plugin. Otherwise, keep everything the same. Let me know when you're done. Okay. So I've sent this through. By the way, yes, Claude, I apologize. I was traveling, my friend. Sorry about that. I wasn't ignoring you, but I was traveling all day yesterday. Hence my crispy golden Costco rotisserie chicken color today. So I will absolutely get back to you with the full answer. And by the way, Claude, which I think is hilarious too. Claude was communicating with me like Anne and like a dozen other of you. When you have a question, ask your dude to just give me what's called a handoff document. And then I can put that handoff document into Fernando, and Fernando will write back to you with the proper answer, which actually happened with Anne while I was away and a few other people. And that's amazing. I am no longer answering those questions. Now, if I go here and I look at the chat, let's see if he's done. He's created the plugin. He's telling me on mobile. He's working and reporting back to me, by the way. I am not 100% sure whether I have to refresh this view or how I do this to make this chat keep up. So if I just click on history, maybe that will do it. There's probably a way to get it to automatically keep up, but I don't care. It's telling me on my phone. Okay, it now says he's done. So he claims that he's fixed this. I'm going to refresh the page. Hi, Eric Kersner Ticker. I am hoping this won't offend any children in the audience. Okay, good. Thank goodness. He wrote the plugin, and it's scrolling a little fast, but the point is, hi, everybody who's at office hours. This is Goose. Hi, everybody who's office hours. This is Goose. Like, he wrote the plugin. You just saw it. It went from like deleted to running. And if I wanted to, I could have it have controls and everything else. Let's try something for fun. Just for shits and giggles, can you make an admin control panel that has its own menu for this plugin that allows me to adjust the message and the speed of the ticker? Because that's moving a little fast. Show me how you can do that so I can show people in the office hours how I'm never writing another plugin again. Okay, so I literally sent him the message. It's very small, I know, but you heard me say it. Let's give him a second. And the end result is that he's going to rewrite the plugin. He's going to manage all of the installed plugins and everything else. By the way, notice how few plugins there are in everything. Like, I literally need no plugins anymore, except for when I have a custom installation done. Like, for example, I was showing you with Hudson. This is taking over $67,000, $65,000 a year worth of software. And when you put it into focus mode, this by itself becomes purely focused on what this business operation does, from the contacts to the leads to the whatever. But we've been working, as I was explaining to you, on a dashboard that my client here wants, which is he wants to work from the front end and have the tool manage his projects, which are houses. He wants to have it manage the correspondence and creating what's necessary. And in doing so, this is what we're shooting for. I'm not sure this is ready to go, but let's see. Can you create and put into the preview the document, the email in a formatted view so I can see what it might look like to send to the client? Okay. There are still some things that I'm working on to make this interface fully comprehensive, but imagine again, while we're waiting for that one last thing, if the interface here has headset enabled, all the capability like Goose, and it runs in your WordPress website, we've basically arrived, because then nobody really needs to work on the tools on the back end. You could just have the dude manage all of the stuff. And that's what I think, this really kicks ass on. Let's see if he's done. He says, now you can show everybody office. Let's refresh. So Eric Kersner ticker. Here's the ticker banner. Here is, look at all the spam, by the way. Let's get rid of all, look at all the spam coming through from WordPress. Let's get rid of some of that. Here is, I can change the words and go, yo, minute launch for the win. I'm going to slow the scroll speed. Okay. I could give it lots of other controls. Oh, I want to make it scroll faster or slower. So nice and slow, right? And save ticker. Good luck to all of you that think that I couldn't immediately replace every single plugin in WordPress instantly with this. So just as an example, I am not going to do that. That's not my purpose. But with reference to WooCommerce, right? So I don't want to refer to my friend's plugin because I would never do anything to hurt my friend. But let's say we went to WooCommerce. WooCommerce plugins or plugin add-ons. Okay, there's a trillion of them, right? If we went to something that did something like even launch flows, right? My own launch flows. There's no point in launch flows. I don't really sell launch flows independently anymore. It's pointless because I can do it on my own. But if we go to a WooCommerce product add-on and we looked at something, I don't know what the hell they're offering here. Comparison table, okay? Extra products options. WooCommerce product add-ons. Let's pick something low-hanging for product add-ons. Advanced product fields. I don't know what the hell this is. I'm just going to pick this randomly. Okay. If I went over here and I said to Goose, using this free, practically Minimo, I say, that is awesome. You rock. I've got a question for you. I'm going to show you this free plugin from Themile called PPOM. And it's got the repository information of the plugin and everything else, but just read the description of this plugin. Could you make essentially a replacement plugin that does the same thing as this, but do it with our single file plugin model and really quickly launch that on the Goose site? I'll put WooCommerce in place. Okay, as simple as that, maybe with a few iterations, I could be up and running. I'll install WooCommerce, or by the way, I can have him to add WooCommerce. By the way, you can add WooCommerce since you manage the site. So add WooCommerce and create that plugin and let me know. Okay. I don't need to even manage the site anymore. I can have him do the WooCommerce. Let's see what he says. He's using Firecrawl, scraping the words from the site. He's installing WooCommerce and then building this plugin. Now, Jonathan, I don't know if you're still with us because I'm over my time allotment here, but if you're still with us, like this is what I was referring to 2 shows ago on the WP Tonic, where I said there's 87,000 plugins in the repository. Most of them are cruft at this point. They are just taking up space because if I'm a customer and I need to do something, whether it's with Spence's help, whether it's on my own, whether it's with Minute Launch, this is what's possible to be done. Notice I'm just using none of the Minute Launch stuff. I'm just using Goose right now. Although he is using my connector, which is allowing him essentially to manage the site. That is true. But other than that, he is independently creating the plugins. He could easily just do what I asked him to do and then give me a zip file to upload. But what I'm saying is there is no purpose in buying plugins that cost $250 a year that have 97 things and you only needed one thing to be done. There's no purpose in having the craziness of all the instructions that come from wherever, when really what I want to do is, remember at the beginning of the show a million years ago, I went in and I created somewhere a free try.new website. Where is it? It's been so long. Here. No, that's not it. One of these was the free try.new. It's here. Remember at the beginning of the show, I've already got this built-in capability of understanding everything that's in here. Now, I'm not giving for free the capability to manage, but I am giving for free the capability to install a website with one plugin and have access to all the same knowledge, access to all the same capabilities. I'm being very discreet, unlike Awesome Motive, on, look, there's just a little teeny tiny link here that says if you want to go premium and get the other stuff, you can. But I believe that we should be sharing this information with everybody because WordPress would be better, but I don't care that much about WordPress. I only care about the outcome that I'm showing to you who follow me, because this is the competition that we're up against with that stupid K-curve. The oligarchs and the lunatics who are now using this for not nice human ways is making it that the rest of us have to be really concerned about getting on the green line so that we can be there for humanity, quite frankly. Okay, he created the thing, just like PPOM, which I have no idea what PPOM does, but let's just see what he did. First of all, he should have installed WooCommerce. Let's see if he did, which would be remarkable in of itself. He installed WooCommerce. It's active. He installed Goose product add-ons. Here is the new dashboard for Goose product add-ons. Jonathan, I hope you're still here. I don't know if you are. Create your first field. Now, I think this product add-ons allows you to create add-on fields to personalize your product. So I'm going to create one that's called field name of minute launch, and I'll make it probably a drop-down select, and I'm going to do, I got to make products that I associate with it. I'm going to ask it for help. Can you make it easier for me? Can you set up 3 example products and also set up this plugin so that it has like a pre-configured demo model of everything configured so I could just use it? This is what I do for my customers. When I'm working with my clients like Video and Stanter, what I've created with them was the ability, this is a real live site now, actually running. I've created the ability in the custom plugins that I'm making that it's not just the solution like as a singular thing, but it also comes with all of the ability for the tool to not only manage the relationship of fixing it and updating it, but also the ability to have demo data. So here, for example, if we go to the depth scheduler, first of all, notice Minute Launch Laboratory. This is a direct manager that allows me to talk to the site or the client to say, here's all the stuff that we'd like to be fixed. And when it fixes it, it moves it into the purple area or into the green area. So essentially, this is like an AI-based custom interface to allow me to just skip the outside tool and instead just talk directly to the tool about what's left to be done. The second thing is, in the settings, I gave it the demo mode. I gave it the ability to create, and I've long since gone into real mode, demo data. It created demo jobs, cases, contacts, team members, and then I could refresh it. So this is something I'm building into all my plugins now, is a demo setup so that you or the client can instantly see what it does, and you don't have to sit around and like invent products and spend a lot of time. This is incredible for the customers because it not only shows them what it's supposed to do, but it also helps them understand why. I'm doing this in my RV Record product. This takes let me go if I can log in here. This takes the information that might be thousands of items inside of a particular mobile vehicle, and it fills out what is probably the likely build sheet for that. I think this is in. I forgot where I hosted that site. Maybe it's in the, hold on, it's in the next row. I think it's in office hours. Let's I think it was leftover. No, I'm going to look real quick. Hold on. I want to show you that one other thing, and then we're going to do his actual plugin, and then we'll call it a day. Let me search for RV Record. Oh, there it is. Okay. Notice in RV Record, if you have an RV and it has all these systems, we don't need to necessarily have to have the owner start from scratch. Instead, let me go to the actual app. Instead, what we can do is have demo mode where the majority of stuff that somebody might need to start with could be filled in and ultimately create a build sheet. The build sheet allows any of these systems to be edited or audited by the person so that they can literally make sure that whatever it is that they actually have is in there. So if I go over here and I look at any of the components, I can edit the component sheets individually, and I can use AI lookup. Like, oh, here's my diesel engine, or here's my Samsung bespoke French door refrigerator. Look up the cost or the source for these things, including the year it might have been made, whatever, and then choose which one of these represents what you think the real value is. I think it's at Home Depot for $4,200. So I select this. What this is doing is allowing somebody to start with, notice, a whole amount of stuff that's already in there that using the AI fill gives me a beginner. And then the rest of the stuff, I'm just literally auditing or editing to make sure that it's proper. And as a result, I can create a build sheet instantly for an RV that's worth a couple $1,000,000. For the client who has an RV or the company for which this particular system is built for, this means that they can get all of the data from each individual owner instantly. They don't have to worry about millions of vehicles on the road. They know instantly each owner's vehicle. Sorry, I clicked the wrong button. Each owner's vehicle and everything that's inside of it, including their driving habits, their behavior, their systems, their components, and so on and so forth. Okay, let's look at our thing. He's refreshed our plugin to go Goose. Let's go to plugins. Goose product add-ons. I'm going to refresh the page. We should now probably have inside of product add-ons, there should be an option, load demo data. Notice I've taught my tools to use the normal components of WordPress, and the styling and everything else is compliant so that we don't have this weird and wacky stuff that goes outside of it. Now, when I look at the product add-ons, I will answer both these questions in a second, John. Hang with me. And of course, I will go slower because this is just me getting in the end. Okay. Product add-ons. I've got demo stuff. If I go to the products, he will have created 3 products. And if I edit the products, we will see where the product add-ons tools are. I have to find them because I didn't ask for them, but I'm pretty sure they're going to be something like in the description or otherwise. Now I have to ask him, he says here, visit a product page, see the custom fields appear before add to cart. Okay, so let's look at this custom t-shirt. I don't see it in that. Let me just double check. Load demo data button. Let me make sure I've actually followed his instructions. Load demo data. Demo data loaded. Okay, and then if I go to products, all products, and sometimes he may or may not get this right. I mean, it is possible that he doesn't get it right, but you've seen how good it is right now. He's not showing it in a way that's obvious to me. So maybe it's after I add to cart. I'm going to ask him, but I'm not going to take the time because I know you guys get the gist of it. I'm going to just tell him, I see that the demo products button was there and it seemed to work, but it's not showing on the product pages themselves. Can you check that and fix that? Now, I've given him the ability to see the screen so he can actually diagnose it, or I could take a screenshot. Let me answer John's questions. First of all, yes, I'm going a bit fast and I apologize. Second of all, can you give some more info on OpenRouter? OpenRouter is one of several companies that allow you or I or anybody to get a generic key. It is a wholesaler of 659 models so that you can get the key and the API to, you pay once and use it anywhere you want. It is literally like Planet Fitness membership card so that I can essentially not have to go pay ChatGPT, OpenAI. I don't have to pay Anthropic. I don't have to pay Perplexity or Gemini or all the other. I can just get OpenRouter. And by the way, you guys can get it yourself. The cost is crazy inexpensive. I have here, I'm going to just add credits. I am down for running my whole business. You can see I've only been adding, like, I had $50. I don't know why it says it 3 times because it's only once, but like I had $50 every 30 days, maybe 20 days. And it's running, by the way, for all my customers. I have to double check why it looks like it's charging points. So if I add credits, I could just go ahead and using link, top it off. I can add $50 more credit. Now, I've actually used the capability of the APIs. I added 10 accidentally, but the point is, I can use the capability of the API keys with what I've built to distribute keys to you and all of my customers. Notice it doesn't show them, but this system is built into my framework that I showed you with the sneak peek behind the hood here, where I have provisioning for all of my customers. This is one of several things where I have a log for anybody who has used this new system. I have the old and the new systems, and this distributes the keys out. And that means that I can manage to you, just like OpenRouter is doing here, keys that can work anywhere. And part of the value proposition is, hey, you're paying me $97 a month or $197 a month. Why shouldn't you get a key that works everywhere also? And hopefully that explains it. I'm able to give you double benefit that way, because you can use your OpenRouter key automatically in the site. It's already provisioned, or you can use it externally with something else. By the way, notice I had asked the question, by the way, of the coach to create a letter based upon what we're talking about. And here's what he created. Not too shabby, right? Like this is, I'm really trying to perfect it because Michelangelo is a really good customer. He knows exactly what he wants. So I've been really trying to essentially make exactly what he wants and needs, but also make it universal for you guys. So this is actually getting very close. He made a beautiful letter in line that is part of the coach, that is now part of our correspondence archive. Notice here, Hudson change order, material allowances. In other words, I can save this and call this client letter 333 Rollwind. Okay. And it will be part of this project that has a chat, that has files, that has correspondence. So when I refresh the page, Michelangelo or his team could come back and he could actually see, if once I get this fully, sorted out, all of the correspondence that applies to this particular project or this particular chat about the project, or related files like attachments, in this case might be material allowances or whatever, or even the correspondent itself. And I think that this is ultimately what is the best benefit. Like having everything here in one place means that he or the dude can run the business for him. He can just be talking on his mobile phone and everything gets done. Okay, let's go back, wrap this up with my voice. If I got to find the right, let's go to Goose. I've lost the Goose. Okay, Goose. Let's see if he's fixed it. He now says he fixed the database table, which, by the way, it's awesome that he can work on everything from the database on. But okay, notice what he did now. He also added a different type of editor. And visit the product page. Here's an example page he created for us. And now here's the field, engraving text. Put your text in here. I love WP Tonic. Font style, classic. I would like delivery next month. Add to cart. And I view the cart and notice I'm not doing anything to mess around with anything else. It's just out of the box. Here we go. Custom engraved mud with all the order details. Now, I can't be more proud of my guys. And by the way, Jonathan, I'd love to have a show and get Katie or somebody else on it, because we all know what her company makes. And you just saw, while I'm chit-chatting with you, what I just made that replaced this other competitor's product, okay? This K-curve is not going to have sympathy for wonderful, nice human beings, our friends. Everybody has to be on top of this. And I know, myself, Jack Arturo, we're all working in this space at the front lines. And I just replaced this premium plugin. This is the free one, but I could get it to do the premium stuff just as easily. I could replace WooCommerce subscriptions. I could do anything I want as simply as what I just showed you, but I'm not, because there's no point in me making plugins. I need to be in the relationship business with human beings. Let me get rid of the, I'll leave them up there. Sorry. I need to be in the relationship business with human beings. You're welcome, John. Because the tools that we now all have mean I don't have time to cock around with making plugins that people put in and then blow their minds with like how much difficult work it is to use them. I just showed you how I need to make a specific for the purpose outcome that has demo data ready to go because I needed a custom field in a WooCommerce product, but it has to work with all the other stuff too. And if I want to have the dude make a full-blown website, we've seen this a million times. Yes. And in fact, that's the whole point. This is not native apps. These are native apps. So for example, if I go to Video Instanter, this full-blown business, the whole point is that all of their tools are mobile friendly from the get-go. Watch this. If I go here, I put it in focus mode or otherwise. If I wanted to look at this on the front end, it's natively mobile responsive. Their whole team works on this from their phone. That's the point. There is no such, it's a great question, by the way. There's no such thing anymore as native responsive or otherwise because everything is native responsive. You don't need an app anymore because we have HTML5. This is actually unfair because it doesn't show this way on a real mobile phone. On a real mobile phone, it actually fills out properly. But I will show you, for example, with that Hudson or RV Record, actually, right? So if I look at the front end, this is designed to be mobile friendly. It is a mobile app by its very nature, out of the box. And I keep hitting the wrong button because that part isn't activated. But the point is, yes. So you can get a client, for example, and Jonathan, you know what I mean, who is like, oh, I was using blankety blank service for 25,000, 30, 50,000 to make mobile apps. And then they have to keep managing, sending it to iOS. That's nonsense. They just have a website now that is natively mobile responsive, has all of the high-end stuff. And like I showed you, has a dude that you can talk to that writes the plugin from your phone and updates the site and then does the other stuff that I also demonstrated, which was like running your business, running your emails, making correspondence. I'm really excited that you guys asked these great questions today. And Jonathan, I would love to do a follow-up on the Tonic show and talk more about this because this is something I've been talking about. And I feel like Rodney Dangerfield, that I don't think, I'm so glad you showed up today. Kurt has been here before, but like you guys just sort of haven't been taking me seriously. Maybe, I don't know, maybe. This is here. It isn't going away. It's only getting better and faster. And the sooner that those of us who are active in the community do stuff with it, the better. For myself, I'm going into full-blown 10-year-ago mode Spence, which is all I'm concentrating on now is building and selling custom solutions or the framework to get as many people using it as possible because it solves all of the problems of WordPress by leaving the core of WordPress alone and getting rid of the flea market. And at the same time, those of my friends, I'll probably be a press conference to talk about this too. Those are my friends who make plugins. Those that understand this, like Jack and others, they're benefiting from it. Those that are not are, I can only just wave the flag in front of their face. Okay. I love all you guys. I hope you will take me up on this proposition to find people in these various niches or you yourself. Join me on the platform. Join me for the VIP, which will allow me to help you get an outcome exactly like any of the things I showed you today, which pays for itself. If you got a HubSpot customer that's spending 30, 40, 50 a year, 1,000, and I cost 5,000, you can be a hero and charge them $30,000 one time, and they'd think you're a genius because you still saved them a fortune and got them into a new system. And I think that's where I built this whole thing to be collaborative and profitable for everybody in the chain, from the customer to the implementer to you. The only people who are not going to profit anymore are those that are trying to start plugin businesses in WordPress. I'll see you guys on the next show.